Mark, thanks so much for joining me here today at the American Seed Trade Association's annual meeting in Chicago. We have been talking a little bit about Clariant and colorants and what you do. So first, tell me a little bit about yourself, full name, title, and how long you've been with Clariant.
Okay, well, my name is Mark Self, and I am by trade an organic chemist. I've been with Clariant for 25 years. I'm currently the market segment manager for special applications, which includes the field of agriculture. Clariant itself is a global company. We have 6 divisions, of which I'm in the colorant division, and we are a global leader in the production of color. Mm-hmm. And as we talked a little earlier, you may not realize how color influences your life. We color electronics. Well, you don't see our name anywhere, but we make the colorants that go into electronics, that go into your everyday plastics, that paint your car, that paint your house. So everywhere you look, when you see color, you hopefully will see Clariant there.
So you really do color the world.
Yes, we do.
Now, when it comes to the seed side of things, you also color seed and provide the colorants there in terms of the treatments, correct?
Yes. Now, we're not actually coloring the seed. We're working with the companies that formulate and do the coloration. But yes, we have a complete line of colorants for seed treatment and for agriculture. Legally, it's required to color these products. And so we've looked at it that not only, to fulfill the legal requirement, but why not work with companies to then help them with their branding or their value added proposition.
Mm-hmm. And so what are some of the things that you're seeing in that space right now?
Well, actually, it's funny because you go through phases where everyone wants to consolidate. I mean, we see a lot of consolidation in the market, but where people want to consolidate, and traditionally it's just been a yellow, or not yellow, a green, a blue, or a red. Mm-hmm. And so you could go into any seed distributor and you could see bins and bins and bins, and they're all red. And the question is, well, what makes this red different than that one? This, even though the pricing and the treatments may be different. So what we see now is companies are starting to look, especially in their marketing, where we want to differentiate ourselves from our competitor. Mm-hmm. So we want to offer a pearlescent effect on our seed, or we want it to be a different shade to match our logo or to go with a particular theme that we're developing. And so that's something where, again, Clariant can help, because as a leader in a global leader in color, we know how to do these formulations. We know how to do these blends, and we can even do those for you and then offer you a custom product with your company's name, to match your logo.
And what are some of the challenges to that?
Well, the challenges are, you're coloring a seed. So seeds are very irregular. The texture, the consistency, because it's a natural product. Right. So you have to be very robust in the complete coating that you develop, or the product you develop, so that you get uniform consistency from seed to seed to seed. Also, things that I guess we've never considered in other areas is, when you color, let's say, several tons of seeds and you put them into a bin, well, they can't stick together, they can't compact, they have to flow freely, and all that can be influenced by the color and by the formulation of the color. So there's a lot of backwards integration and things that we have to look at. Mm-hmm. It's not so straightforward and simple of, I just want it to be red or I want it to be blue.
Yeah. Now, we've talked a little bit about the chemistry. So what are some of the innovations that are taking place on the formulation side or the application side, and how much of a role do you guys play in that?
So we do. It starts out, I guess, with feedback. Well, shows like this, where we get to meet customers, colleagues, competitors. I mean, we get to see what is in the industry, what are the trends, and this is a great show for that. And so we look at the trends to see where we should be headed, and then we try to formulate new products that way with our R&D groups and our production groups. So as far as we say new innovations, one thing that we're seeing is because of the cost of the treatments, the complexity of treatments, for also GMO products, we're seeing that obviously the value of seeds are going higher and higher and higher. They're getting very expensive. And so what we call the real estate on the seed is becoming very precious.
Yes.
And so just as, I guess it's sort of mundane, but an easy example is people want very concentrated colors because the color's there for a legal and a branding purpose, but it's not helping the seed. It's not helping kill a pestilence or something like that. So they want to use as little color as possible so they can actually put the ingredients that matter in there. So that's one of the innovations we're working on, are very highly concentrated products. We're working on or have developed some highly concentrated granular products that are totally free of water that you can just stir in and they disperse in. So then now you've saved all that space that water would be in there that you then have to dry back out.
Okay.
So those are some of the things. We're also looking at complete packages where we can offer just the color itself, or we can offer tailor-made complete coatings, that are specific for a soybean or corn or a rye. Instead of a one fits all, we see that customization is also very important for people.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned kind of the chemistry side of things and how all of this comes together. Just give me a picture. I know it's complex, but just how complex is it to make all of this work? What are some of the inner workings that have to take place to make it successful when it goes on the seed?
Well, actually, yeah, that was one of the things that when we first started this endeavor, actually was interesting to learn. The seed, it's one of the things where if you are on the outside looking in, you don't realize how complicated agricultural or seed coatings are. Something as simple as, you make a coating for corn. Well, you have to do extensive germination studies for over a year to make sure that, under almost every condition, the corn will, let's say the corn seed will still germinate, it will still grow, it will still produce. Then it's, in some cases, it's put in the freezer for a year and then brought back out and tested again. So there can be multiple year-long testings on a product to make sure that it's safe and the efficacy is not compromised. And that's one of the things that was, in other areas, let's say, such as painting your house. I mean, it's a coating that requires maybe a week or two of testing. And here, for agriculture, because it's the food we eat, it's the food we feed our animals. It's very important. And so the testing looks at long-term effects year after year after year, that nothing occurred because of that coating. Mm-hmm. And then also this is a product that's it's buried in the ground, when the seed is planted. So also we do biodegradability, make sure it's biodegradable, make sure that there is no adverse chemical, that there are no trace amount, so it's almost like you're doing cosmetics or medicinal products. There's so much testing that goes into it.
Okay. Now we've talked about the color side of things. And I would, tell me if I'm wrong, do you have every color under the sun that you can use at your disposal, or is there like a set number of colors that works on seed?
Well, we do have every color under the sun, but in the U.S., the EPA has mandated which colorants can be used. And actually, we take a step back. It was, I think, 5 years ago, Clariant, actually, we saw that there was a need in the market because we wanted to do this palette where you could get any shade, just like go to the paint store and pick out a swatch. We wanted to do that. And there was a real hole, I guess, in that there was not a suitable yellow and a suitable red. So we actually petitioned the EPA and got 2 new colorants put on their list. So that now it truly does give you a complete palette. So there is every color in the sun, but there are 7, I guess, basic approved chemistries by the EPA that can be used. And so from those, then we can develop whatever shade, whatever color you want.
Then there's also the pearlescent effects.
Yes, there's pearlescent effects that can be added to it, which it's interesting in a way, because the purpose of the color is to make sure that people see that the seed has been treated with something, so that we're not going to eat it, we're not going to accidentally put it in the food chain. You can definitely see that, okay, that soybean seed is bright red and etc. But when you add the pearlescent effects and all that, they look beautiful. Mm-hmm. They almost look like candy. They're so lovely. Yeah. So it's interesting. But then that pearlescent is not just there. It's not just all about making it pretty. The pearlescent actually aids in the flow. Mm-hmm. So we try to make sure that all the ingredients we're using, not only do they aesthetically, but they also have some other purpose.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Is there anything else that you'd like to add or that you think that is important to let people know?
Well, I guess just again, we'll talk about Clariant in general, the fact that we are a global company. One of the things that we excel at is our compliance, our safety, our quality. So that's the one thing we pride ourselves on, and sustainability. We're on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and so we are working to make product more sustainable, but also whether you use a product in the U.S., you use a product in Indonesia, you use a product in China, Germany, it's the same standard, the same product. We don't have different standards for different parts of the world. It all meets the same standard.
So, what are some of the things that you do to like tracking and recording, and what are things that you do to make sure that those standards are being met at the highest level?
Well, let's see. We have, I guess, within our company, we have individual quality departments, and then we also have, let's say, for example, quality. We have individual quality departments, but then we have a global quality group. And so when we are looking at producing the same product in other parts of the world, it always is measured against the same standard. We only have one set of tests. We have the same equipment in each laboratory, and then then it's first checked in that laboratory and then typically sent, for some period of time, samples will be sent to our global laboratory and they will double check them to make sure that everything is made to the same standard.
Okay. Super. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it. And we hope you have a great show here, and we look forward to catching up with you again in the future.
Well, great. We always, like I said, I always enjoy this show. It's a little bit cold in Chicago, but it's a great show.
Yes, it is cold. Thank you again.
Okay, well, thank you.